All right, fellas, it's a new week, which is good because Cam and Chad have now spoken offline and everything squashed, which I kind of felt like it would be because Chad is the most peaceful human I've ever been around. But it did get ugly in the middle. I'll go to you first, Freddie T. When you first heard Cam say what he said about Chad and then now Chad reply, what were sort of your thoughts during that time?
Because we're here, I got to speak on it. Naturally, I wouldn't even entertain it, man. We all know Chad is the biggest troll on the planet. And we know Cameron to be total opposite, you know, based from his music career, Dipset, the Harlem upbringing, etc. But I would say this, right? Ocho is he's a sleeping giant in a sense. That man's from Liberty City, Miami. We all know this fun, happy-going Ocho, but
yeah,
you know, when you rattle a quiet person who's from that fabric, cut from that, you know, you can kind of, you know, shake up their universe a little bit and make them turn into something that they're not, that they don't want to go back to. Ocho handled it perfectly. You know, obviously he mentioned handling business through Doug, which we all know. Ocho, he has Ocho has 10 jobs, right? And he's always on the go. So, I don't know, I think Cameron just saw an opportunity and shot his shot. It was good for their views and ratings and all that stuff. I think what Cam and Mace have built over there with It Is What It Is, it's an amazing platform and show, and they've done great with it. Obviously, what Shannon and Ocho is doing over at Nightcap is also equally as great. And I think it just didn't make any sense for that to kind of clash, man. But Ocho is happy-go-lucky. Cam is said how it is what it is. And the good thing is they were able to squash it and not allow it to go any further than internet trolling and beef and all that garbage.
Yeah, I'm glad Cam and Ocho, like you say, squashed it. Because Ocho is a good dude. That's my ace. 20 years I know Ocho now, and that's my ace. The whole thing about letting your agent do things, that's what you need to do. That's how business is done. So that was the one thing when Cam was like, yeah, well, I can't do it. You can't do it like that. You have to it was like when we got together. Let's get our paperwork in line. Let's get our stuff in line, and then we can move forward.
You were the only one that had a manager or agent involved, though.
Well, and that's why I'm speaking on it. Cause I've been around it. Joel Siegel, I shot out Joel Siegel when I was playing, but I had an agent and it's that the whole street thing, and man, I'm gonna holler at my boy. The last situation we had, that's what we did. Man, we good, Freddie. We good, Ryan. Man, we'll figure this out, and then we don't have it figured out. So that was the one thing. But really, I respect Cameron, respect him. Him and Mace are doing is beautiful. I love what they're doing. I love that they're pretty much like we some boys coming around and we talking, and they call it alternative media or whatever they call it. I think it's the real media now. But Ocho and Shannon them doing it too. So it's almost two dinosaurs fighting because y'all are really doing the same thing. So I love that they squashed it. I hope that they squashed it. You know, the media, the videos and all said they squashed it. But they're the same person. They're just like us. They're some dudes doing something very special. And love Cameron, love Shannon, love Mace, love Ocho. And it shouldn't be love Fred, love Ryan, love that. I think we need to be all in one group other than trying to argue about that stuff. That's really how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think the hard part about what happened with Cam and Chad is that's sort of the nature of media now. My thing is, I don't like to say other people's names, right? So I'm not gonna be like Nick Wright or Emmanuel Acho or say these people's names, tweet about them or anything like that, because you don't really know how those things will be taken. And if I'm gonna talk about somebody's take, like we do sometimes on this show, like I remember last year with whether it was Brady Quinn or somebody, it's because I do have a larger scale problem with that take, but not normally with the person. And I've had my stuff, you know what I mean? Just on TV saying something I said about AB, then he addressed me on Twitter. I am a firm believer that I get to address you how you address me though, right? If you call me, that's gonna stay on the phone call. If you tweet me, that's gonna be handled on Twitter. If you DM me, that's gonna be handled in DMs, and nobody has to know about that. I do love the fact that Cam and Chad got an opportunity to talk. Now thinking back, I wish they just would have talked previously. I wish Cam would have picked up the phone before that. It is what it is this awesome platform that's showing you don't have to play at the highest of highs if you can entertain, right? That started with Stephen A. And now Mace and Cameron are benefiting off that. And by benefiting off that, they are helping people like Maurice Clarett, giving him a platform. Mark Jackson, now that he's no longer on ESPN, like those things are beautiful. And like the other piece of it for Chad is like, Chad don't mean nobody, no harm. And if you don't know him, you can take some of the things that he says and totally sort of misinterpret it or misread it because he's always being playful. Right? We had the same thing with Debo, where Debo was kind of like, but he called me so I feel some type of way. But it did make me think about some of the interactions and altercations I've had publicly, which I try not to do, right? I'm a very call me, I'll DM you. No, I am very like that. And
Come on.
when we're face to face, I'll deal with you. I'm talking about people in our business.
Yeah.
Like if you're just a regular Twitter troll, I'll tell you what I want to tell you. But even with old boy, I tried to call him for months before I ever addressed him publicly. I've DM'd him on multiple platforms because I don't feel like I want to handle all this publicly. Now, if you keep running from it, but you keep saying my name, now I got to try to address you in a way where I play on your ego enough to address me, right? And then once I realize that's not working that way, then I try to step away from it. But with what we have as our platform, we all have to be better about how we sort of dissect disrespect and then also how we give it out. When you start calling a man a B, when you start talking about the money that the man is making, when you continue to disrespect him and call him out his name, to me, this is going beyond media, beyond entertainment, beyond clicks and likes, and now we have a real problem.
Yep.
And we're talking about a dude from Harlem and a dude from Miami who should be too grown and too adult and too successful now for anything to happen, but you don't know they people. And so I think that we do have to be really careful about how we address one another. This platform is beautiful, but it needs to be utilized responsibly. And I think I need to do a better job than that. I'm glad Cam and Ocho figured out a way to do it better than that. But we have to also understand, we may think it's great for the platform, but is it truly great for all of us to be involved in stuff like that?
Hey, if you like the Pivot Clips, you're going to love our full episodes. Just go find the links, subscribe, watch. Make sure you tap into the Pivot channel. Subscribe over there, too. That's a Pivot.